Hello, trading has closed on July 31st, 2024. We'll do our disclaimer as we always do, go over our calls and make our predictions. This is my trading plan for the 1st of August, 2024. Please remember, my calls can be wrong. Any trade you make should be made at your own risk. Also, I don't know if I'm going to have any time tomorrow to follow the market or actually risk my own money. I don't know my plans for tomorrow yet. By the end of the month, I'll be back to my normal schedule. Well, today was FOMC days. I don't like to make calls on these days. Here's what I said. I said we had a lower target. Unless we gap up smartly, the rules call for it to print. I said gapping up wasn't impossible because we had a day-long drop that couldn't manage a close under intraday lows. So we did get the gap, and obviously that's a very strong rally. It leaves this target 54.1156. It should print at some time. We can't say when. We've already had our three-leg Fed whipsaw. Let's see what happened during the day as far as the system was concerned. System said that drop wouldn't stick, it was false. Said this rally would pull back, which it did. And those things have already played out. Now, before getting too excited about this move up, which I'm not convinced is over, even if we do pull back tomorrow, which is likely, let's notice a few things. Here was a gap down. This is a strong rally which stopped right at resistance. It filled the gap and that was it. So far at least, it hasn't accomplished anything. We gapped up, hit higher highs, closed under all those highs. If that's maintained at the open, that's a negative pattern. So we've gone up to resistance and stopped. Now, I don't know where we'll open tomorrow, but if we don't take this out early, that's a negative pattern. It should lead to some lower prices. Now, we did say when the market hit its all-time high that this break really didn't convince me, that I thought we'd return to this line at some time. This was the other line we drew, and so far that one's holding. So it would be nice if this were the real thing and we continued up to this line, which would take us to a new all-time high, even though I think this is a pretty strong case for a leg being over. That would make this an expanded flat. That's one of the possibilities. I think it's too soon for me to be confident that will happen. I'd like it to happen, but that doesn't make me correct. However, this is so far just a rally in a market which has topped out, and this is one of the places, not the only place, where the rally could stop. Well, we had our first leg down. That was in ABC. If you look at what's going on since then, we have an A, a B, and a C, and C is equal to exactly 1.618 times A. And if you look at wave C, you have a good 5-wave pattern with wave 5 equal to wave 1. And this top, in addition to stopping right as it filled the gap, is a Fibonacci target of the prior consolidation. You just ignore all these spikes, take your 38.2, you get your measurement right there, and we have a Fibonacci grid measurement 61.8 right at this low. So we have a lot of things pointing to resistance at today's high. Now, I don't know how futures will open up in the after hours session, but right now they're already up 14 handles or so. Let's see where they are now. I guess that's up 13 at 70. That's about 14 handles from the close, if I remember. So you never know about these things. I mean, we could open up here and all this looks like kind of chicken scratchings. But for right now, this is one of the logical places for this rally to end. Don't forget, the strongest rallies are bear market rallies. If you look at the 10 strongest, the 10 biggest percentage moves in history, of which this move doesn't even come close, they're all bear market rallies. As shorts shorts all try to cover. So one big move doesn't mean much. Any big move has to be confirmed in any event. I'll tell you, I'd be happier if this were just A or B and we pulled back and then went up, but just because it would make me happier doesn't mean it'll happen. If we start dropping tomorrow and leave this all behind us, that could be the end of B and we could have C down. That we don't know yet. Well, Thursday's pattern has the early high regardless of where we open. A number of patterns are arguing for higher prices even if they don't come immediately. The first move after the FOMC announcement was up. Usually that lets us know the next move of consequence, although it didn't work with the June FOMC. Today's normally bearish pattern wasn't. Now, I don't know how we'll open tomorrow. If we open way down, then it was bearish. But if it isn't a bearish pattern, you usually get a higher price pretty soon. And we should retrace to the light blue trend line at some time. So all those are arguing for this rally eventually following through. But we've also rallied to resistance, and today's high is a logical place for this leg up to stop. Bulls need to clear today's high, ideally near the open, to clear this resistance. And if they don't, we should see a pullback regardless of where we close. Now, as I said, futures are up as I'm writing this before the overnight session's begun. It's entirely possible we gap up, clear these highs, and keep going up. But if that doesn't happen, this is a logical place, maybe not for the whole rally to end, although it could, but for this leg of the rally to end. Whether or not we drop tomorrow, one can make the case for the rally taking us into the 5600s and possibly hitting a new high. However, the case for this month's low is not as convincing as the case for this month's high. Before long, I think the recent low is going to fall. And by this month's low, I'm talking about this, not earlier in the month. I guess there is a low for the month. This isn't a very convincing low. This one here on earlier in the month is a very convincing high. I think we're going to see more of a pullback than we've seen, even if we go up here and then drop. I don't think this is over. So it's the pattern with the early high. We rallied right to resistance, but not through it. If we're going to keep going up, you really want to gap over this. And we've started to in futures, but that still is a long way up, and we don't know how we're going to open. So it's the pattern with the early high. Here's resistance. If it wins, we pull back. We could trade higher, but at some point, I think these lows are going to fall. And that's today's call.